Chosen one, God has been completely speechless since this morning, and it is because of exactly what you did today. Right now, without moving a single muscle, I want you to mentally scan the energy in your throat and the lingering tightness in your jaw. You know exactly the fraction of a second I am talking about. Earlier today, the enemy orchestrated a perfect trap. The disrespect was loud. The provocation was intentional. You had the perfect, devastating response formulated in your mind. You had every right to unleash it and destroy their argument. But in a split second, you made a silent, invisible choice. You swallowed the fire. You deleted the response in your mind. You refused to step down into their chaotic frequency, and you starved the demon that was trying to feed on your reaction. You probably felt exhausted and maybe even a little weak for not fighting back. But you were not led to this video by an algorithm. The Holy Spirit orchestrated this encounter because you need to know the truth. What looked like passive surrender on earth sounded like a sonic boom in heaven. God stood up from his throne because you finally mastered the one test you used to fail. Before I reveal the massive vindication that was just authorized for your life because of your silence, subscribe to align with our awakened family, like this video to seal your frequency, and comment 777 to activate your divine defense. And I need you to stay with me until the very end of this exact message. Because today, I am not just giving you temporary encouragement. I am going to hand you the specific mental severance protocol to shut down these attacks before they even reach your spirit. I will reveal the shocking scientific and spiritual reality of why holding your peace physically exhausts you, and I will expose the exact 3 counterattacks the enemy has already planned for tomorrow. If you leave early, you will walk into tomorrow completely unprotected. But if you stay, you will walk out with an armor that cannot be penetrated. Because the battle you refuse to fight today, God is about to end for you permanently. I need to validate exactly what you are feeling right now. You are tired. Not just physically tired, but bone tired, soul tired. You are sitting there, perhaps staring at a wall, or remembering gripping the steering wheel of your car earlier today, feeling the adrenaline slowly draining out of your system, leaving you completely hollow. You constantly play the role of the bigger person. You absorb the shockwaves of other people's dysfunction. You let them think they won the argument just to preserve the fragile peace in the room. And there is a voice in your head, a very loud, very raw, very ugly thought whispering to you right now. It is telling you that you are a coward. It is telling you that you let them walk all over you again. It is mocking you, saying that your silence is just fear dressed up as spirituality. It asks you why you are the only one who has to sacrifice, why you are the only one who has to bleed quietly while they get to shout. Let me silence that lie right now. You are experiencing the paradox of strength. You are tired because restraining power takes infinitely more energy than releasing it. I want to show you a truth hidden in the original Greek language of the New Testament that changes everything about what you did today. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, Jesus says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The English word meek sounds like weak. It sounds like someone who is easily bullied and pushed around. But the original Greek word used there is praus. Listen to me very carefully. Praus does not mean weak. It is a military term used by the ancient Greeks to describe a wild war horse that had been completely tamed and disciplined for battle. That horse has the power to crush a man's skull with a single kick, but it chooses to stand perfectly still at the quiet command of its master. Praus is power under absolute control. It is knowing you have the sword, knowing you could draw it, knowing you could absolutely win the fight in 10 seconds, and intentionally choosing to keep it in the sheath. That is what you did today. You were not weak. You were praus. You operated in controlled, dangerous, divine strength. And that is why the enemy is absolutely terrified of you right now. But we need to go deeper into why this specific provocation was sent your way today. This was not a random argument. This was not a coincidental misunderstanding. The enemy does not waste resources on random attacks. He was targeting something very specific inside of you. He was targeting your frequency. You see, when you operate in your chosen identity, your brain and your spirit naturally align with a state of deep divine stillness. But the enemy operates in chaos. He operates in the frantic, low-level survival frequency. When they provoked you today, the goal was not just to make you say something you would regret. The ultimate goal was to drag your energetic frequency down into the mud with them. They needed you to match their chaos so they could drain your light. And the moment you refused, you disrupted a spiritual pattern that goes back generations in your bloodline. Your ancestors fought back. Your ancestors screamed back. Your ancestors allowed the bitterness to take root and destroy them from the inside out. You became the brick wall where that generational curse broke today. Think about the pattern of David in the Bible. He had been anointed king, but was running for his life from Saul. David is hiding in a dark, damp cave, exhausted, terrified, and functionally homeless. And Saul walks right into that exact cave to rest, completely vulnerable, completely unaware. David's men whisper to him from the shadows, telling him, "This is the ultimate confirmation. This is God handing his enemy over to him on a silver platter. It is the perfect setup for revenge." Wrapped in what looks like divine timing, David creeps up in the darkness. He is close enough to feel Saul's body heat. He has the weapon in his hand. He had the power to end his years of misery right then and there. One strike, and he becomes king instantly. But he stops. He restrains himself. He cuts off a piece of cloth and steps back into the shadows. He refuses to take matters into his own hands and touch the Lord's anointed. David chose prowess. He chose restraint. And because he passed that massive test of restraint in the dark cave, God eventually elevated him to the throne in the broad daylight. Your cave was today. Your cave was that conversation, that toxic message, that moment of blatant disrespect. You had the knife in your hand, metaphorically speaking, but you chose to step back. Now that you understand the magnitude of your victory, I have to give you the operational framework to sustain it. Because this will happen again, and you cannot rely on sheer human willpower every single time. Willpower runs out. You need a spiritual protocol. I call this the mental severance protocol. From this day forward, when the enemy uses a person to trigger your trauma or disrespect your boundaries, I do not want you to just bite your tongue. Biting your tongue builds toxic resentment in your body. Instead, I want you to perform a specific mental action. Right in the middle of the confrontation, when their mouth is moving and the toxic words are flying, I want you to close your eyes for one split second and imagine a thick, heavy, soundproof glass wall instantly dropping from the ceiling, slamming down right between you and them. See it clearly in your mind. Look at them through the glass. You can see their lips moving. You can see their angry gestures, but you cannot hear a single word. The vibration of their chaos is bouncing off the glass and returning right back to them. And as that glass drops, I want you to pull your energy backward. Imagine your energy as a physical tether connected to their chest, and just mentally unplug it. Let it retract back into your own body. You are no longer feeding their dynamic. You are just observing it from a safe distance. This is exactly what is meant in Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. Moses stands before the Red Sea. The Egyptian army is charging from behind. The people are panicking, complaining, and screaming at him. Moses does not scream back at the people. He does not attack the Egyptians. God tells him, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." The Hebrew word for still in that verse is karash. It literally translates to being deaf, to hold one's peace, to be entirely silent. God was telling Moses, drop the soundproof glass, become deaf to the chaos, pull your energy back, and watch what I am about to do to your enemies. When you apply the mental severance protocol, you are engaging Karash. You are stepping out of the boxing ring and letting the creator of the universe step in for you. But here is what nobody is telling you. The reason maintaining this silence keeps exhausting you, the reason it feels like you are fighting a heavy gravity that is trying to pull you down, goes much deeper than emotional discipline. It is literally an invisible war happening at the level of your brain frequencies. The enemy has set a frequency trap that you are currently caught in without even realizing it. And what I am about to show you in the next part will completely change how you see your spiritual warfare. You see, you probably believe you are exhausted right now because the spiritual test of holding your peace is just incredibly difficult. You think you are fighting a level 10 demon of anger, and that resisting it naturally drains your physical body. But that is actually a false summit. That is what the enemy wants you to believe, so you feel overwhelmed. The truth is, the test itself is not what drained you. The real reason you are physically and mentally depleted is because your primary spiritual weapon has been severely corroded over the years. You went into today's battle swinging a heavy, blunt sword. Let me explain the science of your spirituality. When you were born, your brain and your spirit naturally operated in a state of absolute divine connection. Science calls this the theta brainwave. It is a slow, powerful frequency where creativity, deep peace, and direct communication with God happen effortlessly. A famous NASA study actually tested children and found that an astonishing 98% of them operate at this genius, highly connected theta frequency. But as we grow up, the toxic environments we live in, the trauma we endure, and the constant, high-stress survival mode of the modern world lock that innate theta wave away. By adulthood, that 98% drops to a mere 2%. The world literally programs you to operate in a chaotic, anxious state known as the beta frequency. So when you tried to stay peaceful today, you were not just fighting a difficult person, you were fighting against your own locked brain state. You were using raw, exhausting human willpower to override a neurological block. The enemy knew you were stuck in that chaotic beta state, and he tried to use it against you. But what if you did not have to fight so hard? What if staying in perfect peace did not require draining every ounce of your energy? Ancient mystics spent decades meditating in caves to unlock and maintain this theta frequency. But you do not have decades to wait. Your assignment is happening right now. And there is a sacred technology available to you today that bridges this gap between science and the spirit. It is a specific sound frequency tool, an activation mechanism called the genius wave. This is not magic, and it is not a gimmick. It is simply a tool that uses gentle brainwave entrainment to guide your mind back to that exact divine theta state in just 7 minutes a day. It acts like a tuning fork for your spirit, restoring the quiet frequency where your spiritual gifts actually function without friction. It brings you back to the state you were originally designed to operate in, before the world tried to shut you down. If your spirit recognizes that you need help anchoring your frequency in this heavy season, I invite you to investigate this for yourself. I have placed the resource for the Genius Wave in the pinned comment below. Only explore it if you feel led by your spirit. It is an instrument for those who are ready to stop fighting their battles entirely in the flesh. Now, let us bring our focus back to what happened after you walked away today. We need to address the heavy shadow sitting in the corner of your mind right now. Because even if you understand the frequency, your human ego is still wrestling with your spirit. I know exactly what you are thinking. As you replay today's confrontation in your head, there is a deeply uncomfortable, raw voice whispering to you. It is telling you that maybe you were just scared. Maybe you did not speak up because you are a coward. You are sitting there, mentally drafting the long, angry paragraphs you wish you had sent. You want to expose their hypocrisy. You are terrified that by walking away, you gave them permission to step all over you. You are worried they walked away laughing, thinking they won, thinking you are weak. I need you to mentally crush that lie right now. Look at that thought of being a coward and recognize it for the manipulation it is. Restraint is not cowardice. Restraint is the management of nuclear power. You did not fire your weapon today because, deep down, your spirit understands the massive karmic weight of your words. When a chosen one speaks out of anger, the spiritual damage is catastrophic. Your words carry a different weight than ordinary people. If you had unleashed your anger today, you would have cursed them, but you also would have derailed your own timeline. Your silence was not you shrinking down. It was you refusing to release a destruction that would have delayed your own blessings. You spared them, and you protected yourself. To ensure you maintain this controlled power, you must adopt a new mental protocol for the next 40 days. I call it the 3-second filter. When the next provocation comes, whether it is a text message that makes your blood boil or a snide comment right to your face, I want you to perform a specific mental action. Feel the heat rising in your chest, and before you let it reach your throat, mentally lock your jaw and count to 3 in your mind. 1, 2, 3. In that brief window, ask your spirit one defining question. Does responding to this feed my ego? Or does it feed my destiny? If answering back only feeds your ego's desire to prove you are right, you abort the response immediately. Look at the ultimate biblical blueprint for this. Look at Jesus standing before Pontius Pilate. He is being falsely accused, mocked, and his very life is on the line. Pilate holds the physical power of the Roman Empire and demands an answer. Jesus had the power to call down legions of angels. He had the ultimate, undeniable truth on his side. But what did he do? He remained strategically silent. Matthew chapter 27 tells us that Jesus gave him no answer, not even to a single charge. To the great amazement of the governor, Jesus applied the ultimate filter. He knew that defending his human ego to Pilate would interfere with his divine destiny on the cross. His silence was not a lack of words. His silence was the weapon that confused the enemy and secured the ultimate victory. You now have the tool to keep your frequency, and you understand that your silence is a weapon of mass destruction. But hear my warning very clearly. The enemy never accepts defeat after just one failed attempt. He watched you today. He saw that you cannot be triggered by direct, loud provocations anymore. He sees that your front door is locked. So tomorrow, or perhaps even later tonight, he is going to deploy 3 specific, incredibly deceptive, and highly sophisticated counterattacks. They will be quiet, they will be sneaky, and they will come from directions you completely trust. If you do not know the exact names and faces of these 3 attacks, you will walk right into the trap at the final hour. Let me show you exactly what is coming. The first retaliation you will face is what I call the echo attack. This will likely happen tonight, right around 2 or 3 in the morning. You will be lying in bed, exhausted, trying to sleep, and suddenly your brain will replay today's confrontation on a loop. The enemy will hand you the perfect comeback, the exact words you should have said hours too late. You will feel your heart rate spike, your chest tighten, and you will start having an imaginary argument in the dark. The enemy cannot make you fail in the physical world today, so he is trying to drag you into a spiritual failure tonight. He wants you to lose your peace and wake up drained. When this echo attack hits, you must recognize it instantly. It is a ghost. It is a residual trap. Do not argue with the ghost. Apply the mental severance protocol immediately. Visualize that heavy, soundproof glass wall dropping over that memory, cutting off the audio. Starve the echo by refusing to engage with it in your mind. The second snare is the setup part 2. Because you did not react to the massive disrespect today, the enemy will try to test your perimeter tomorrow with something deceptively small. He will send someone else, often someone very close to you, someone you actually trust, to do something mildly irritating. It will be a small slight, an overlooked detail, a passive-aggressive comment about something mundane. The goal here is to make you snap at the wrong person over the wrong thing, making you look unstable and ruining the spiritual victory you secured today. When this happens tomorrow, you must recognize the setup. Use your 3-second filter. Mentally lock your jaw. Realize that this is not about the dishes, or the email, or the offhand comment. It is a targeted probe to see if your frequency has truly shifted. Breathe through it and let the small offense bounce off your armor. The third trap is the guilt trip, and this one is the most manipulative. The people who tried to provoke you today will realize their tactics failed. Because you stayed quiet and withdrew your energy, they will suddenly flip the script and play the victim. They will tell others that you are being cold, arrogant, or uncommunicative. They will try to make you feel guilty for holding your boundaries. They want you to break your silence just to defend your character. Hear me clearly. Let them misunderstand you. Let them paint you as the villain in a story they manipulated. Do not step out of your divine stillness to defend your human reputation. You might be wondering if this level of extreme spiritual restraint actually produces tangible results. I need to tell you about a chosen one who sat exactly where you are sitting, listening to this exact teaching about 4 months ago. They were dealing with a highly toxic superior at their workplace who publicly humiliated them in a meeting. They were furious. They went back to their desk and spent an hour drafting a devastating 3-page email exposing every single flaw and mistake this superior had ever made. They had the evidence, they had the right. But right before they hit send, they remembered the mental severance protocol. They realized that sending that email would drop them right into the enemy's chaotic frequency. They chose the radical restraint. They deleted the email, closed their laptop, and went home in complete silence. Their human ego was screaming, but their spirit was holding the line. Exactly 3 weeks later, that same toxic superior made a massive, independent mistake that could not be hidden. They were terminated immediately by the upper management. And because this chosen one had maintained absolute professionalism and peace, they were called into the office the very next day and promoted to that exact position. God handled the removal, and God handled the promotion, all because they kept their hands off the situation. I will tell you about another situation that happened just recently. Someone was facing a horrific verbal attack from a toxic family member during a gathering. The generational pattern in this family was explosive rage, screaming matches, and holding grudges for decades. When the attack came, this chosen one felt the familiar generational fire rising in their throat. But instead of fighting back to defend their honor, they performed the mental severance. They quietly gathered their things and left the house without slamming a single door. They broke a generational curse of rage right there in the hallway. They did not realize that their physical restraint was actually shifting their spiritual frequency. By refusing to engage in poverty-level vibrations of anger, they aligned with abundance. The very next week, an unexpected financial door swung wide open for them. A contract they had been praying over for 2 years suddenly cleared. The financial generational curse broke the exact same week the emotional generational curse was broken. The restraint unlocked the reward. This brings us to the ultimate truth about why God was completely speechless today. You thought his silence meant he was ignoring your pain. You thought he was abandoning you to the wolves. But let us look at the biblical pattern of vindication. In the Old Testament, when King Hezekiah was surrounded by a massive, bloodthirsty army, the enemy commander sent a letter mocking Hezekiah and mocking God. Hezekiah did not write a letter back. He did not go out to the wall to scream at the enemy. Hezekiah took that letter, walked into the temple in absolute silence, and simply laid it out before God. He surrendered his right to argue, and because Hezekiah held his peace, God sent one single angel that night who wiped out the entire enemy camp while Hezekiah slept. God was speechless today because when you swallowed your pride and walked away, he stepped into the courtroom of heaven on your behalf. When you speak, you are representing yourself. But when you are silent, the creator of the universe, becomes your defense attorney. God was silent because he was gathering the evidence of your restraint. He was watching you pass the final test of emotional mastery. And now that the evidence is gathered, his silence is about to turn into a roar of vindication over your life. Wherever you are right now, whether you are driving in your car, sitting at your desk, or lying in bed, I want you to mentally stand at attention. Bring your spirit to a posture of absolute reverence. Drop the heavy burdens from your invisible shoulders. This is not a regular closing prayer. This is a sealing ceremony. This is a commissioning for your new level of spiritual authority. Father, in the mighty, unmatched name of Jesus Christ, we acknowledge that heaven is watching this exact moment. We declare that this is a designated intersection of human surrender and divine intervention. You saw the tears they swallowed today. You felt the tightness in their chest when they chose peace over being right. You saw them look at the trap the enemy set, and you watched them walk right past it. You saw them break the cycle of anger that has plagued their bloodline for generations. So right now, by the authority of your word, I seal the mental severance protocol permanently into their mind. I bind every echo attack that the enemy has scheduled for 2 in the morning. I command that residual chaos to dissolve into nothingness. I seal their brain, their heart, and their spirit in that divine theta frequency of perfect, unbreakable peace. I break every assignment of guilt, every false accusation, and every setup planned for tomorrow. The enemy will find no access point here. And now I do not ask, I declare. Because they held their peace today, you will fight their battles tomorrow. Within the next 7 days, I declare explicit, undeniable vindication over their lives. The tables are turning in the unseen realm right now. The doors that were closed by toxic people are being blown off their hinges by angels of breakthrough. What the enemy meant for their humiliation, you are actively converting into their elevation. Chosen one, God is asking you a direct question right now. Will you put down your human sword and let him be your absolute defender? Will you trust his timing over your temper? If your answer is yes, I need you to release that into the atmosphere. If your hands are free, type 777 in the comments to seal this contract. But if you cannot type, I want you to scream, yes, in the sanctuary of your own mind. Make that mental declaration so loud that it shakes the spiritual atmosphere around you. Heaven has recorded your surrender. The angels have received their marching orders. Your silence was your greatest weapon, and your vindication is already in motion. You are activated. You are shielded. You are sent. Walk in the absolute authority of your restraint. In the mighty name of Yeshua, don't say Amen yet. Sit in this peace for 60 seconds. Let the vindication wash over you.